Guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm showing you how to make this tube top with Ankara fabric, and this is the inspiration where I got this design from. If this is something you're interested in learning how to make, kindly keep watching and let's get right into the video. If you're new here, please don't forget to subscribe and share this video if you found it helpful. We are going to begin by drafting out the pattern with our pattern paper. I'm making use of my fabric, of course. I have 1 yard of Ankara fabric, my scissors, my tape, my markers, and all that. So these are the measurements you'll be using for this tutorial. You'd like to take them down before you begin. Before you start cutting, please ensure your pattern paper is on fold, as you can see, and I'm going to start drafting my pattern from the part which is covered, so I'm going to leave the other end which is exposed. So to begin, we're going to draw a straight line which is going to be our starting point. You can mark 1/2 inch or 1 inch, depends on what you want. Just go ahead and draw a starting point and name it your shoulder line. After doing that, I'm going to insert my shoulder measurements. For this person, we are going to make use of 7.5 inches because their shoulder is 15. So divide your shoulders by 2 and mark it on the shoulder line. So to ensure I have the same width as the upper part, I'm marking my armhole length, and on that length I'm going to mark 7.5 inches as well. So to get your armhole, you would like to divide your bust by 6 and whatever you get, you add 1.5 inches. So for me, I got about 9.5 inches, but I'm making use of 9 inches for this tutorial. You want to go ahead and draw your straight line connecting your chest line to the shoulder line, and that's what we are going to use to do our armhole. Draw your straight line and go ahead to draw the chest line as well. Draw your chest line and label it chest line so you don't get mixed up. The next line on our agenda is the armhole line. So for this line, I won't be coming in by any amount of inches. I'm just going to go ahead and draw a curve because this is a sleeveless top. So yes, just go ahead and draw your curve. The next line we'll be inserting is the shoulder to nipple measurement. So we're going to place our tape on the shoulder line and connect it downwards to give us the nipple line. For this person, we are going to be using 12 inches. So I'm going to place it on 12 inches and mark it all the way, then draw a straight line. Following this up is the shoulder to under bust point and the waistline respectively. So shoulder to under bust is 15 inches and the waistline is 18 inches. I'm going to be marking both, and I'll draw a straight line across just like I did for the shoulder to nipple line. By drawing these lines, I'm going to be labeling them so we don't get it mixed up. It's important to label your lines because in the process you can get confused. Remember, our chest line is about 9 inches and we don't want that here, so I'm going to be coming up by extra 2 inches and marking it 7 inches. I want my chest line to be 7 inches so that it doesn't expose one part of the bust area. You can make your chest line lower, you can make it even 10 inches depending on how low you want it to be or how high you want it to be. For mine, I'll be making use of 7 inches. After doing that, go ahead to draw a straight line and you have your new chest line. This is where your nipple to nipple measurement comes to play. So for this person, it is 8 inches divided by 2. We are going to mark 4 inches from the chest line all the way to the waistline. So grab your tape and place whatever you have as your nipple to nipple divided by 2 and draw a straight line. This is the line we're going to be using to get our dots. Place your tape on the waistline area and mark 1 inch to the left and 1 inch to the right. So altogether, the amount of dots we are going to be taking out is 2 inches. By doing this, we are going to make the underbust more cinched. The next thing on the underbust, we are going to do the same amount of dots as well, 1 inch to the left and 1 inch to the right. After this, you go ahead and mark your nipple point. So this is our nipple point, and we don't want the bustier to be pointed. So on that point, we're going to come down by 1/2 inch, so that by the time we connect the lower darts to that point, it's going to blend in. So we're going to draw straight lines connecting from the waistline area to the under bust point on the 1 inch mark that we created. To connect the dart to the nipple point, we're going to use our curved ruler. You can use your free hand to do this if you don't have a ruler. So remember that 1 inch part we came down by on the nipple point, that's where we're going to stop. And then just use your free hand to connect the lines rather. Do the same thing on the other side. The same amount of that we took in on the lower part is what we are going to replace on the upper part, but the difference is that on this point we are going to be taking out 1/2 inch on one end and 1.5 inch on the other end. So coming in we have 1/2 inch, and on this side we have 1.5 inches. By so doing, we are going to connect this line so that the midpoint is not going to be pointed at the end of the day on our chest area. On that point, on that note, we are going to mark our nipple point just as we did for the lower part. We are going to come up by 1/2 inch and then connect that line to where we put our darts. You can use your free hand or you can use your ruler. This is me simply using my free hand to give it a better definition. So the next thing we're going to be doing is that on the chest area we're going to be coming down to give it like a sweetheart neckline. We don't want it exactly like a sweetheart neckline, like we don't want it too deep. So on that chest line area I'm going to be going down by 1 inch. Mark your 1 inch and go ahead to connect the line to the higher side of the bustier area. So you can go lower, you can do whatever kind of neckline you want with this tube top, but for mine I'll be coming down just a little. So use your ruler to connect the line or your free hand. It's not compulsory to always use your ruler. Remember that's not the only design on this tube top. If you remember from the beginning, there's like a basque waistline in front of it. It's not so basque, but it gives this illusion, like a V illusion on the lower part of the blouse. So for this I'll be going down by just 2 inches, and by that 2 inches is what I'm going to be drawing across. I'm going to place 2 inches for the whole part of the waistline and draw a straight line. Just before we create our waistline, I'm going to go ahead to define the armhole better. I'm just covering that area because that's how I want it to look at the end of the day. Because it's sleeveless, remember it's sleeveless, I want that side to slip nicely. So go ahead and give it a good curve. Next I'm going to be inserting the body measurements. We're starting with the bust area. So make sure you insert all the darts that you took out. You replace all the darts that you took out. If it is 2 inches, if it is 1 inch on that particular spot you are taking it out, make sure you replace it on that spot. So yeah, go ahead and insert your body measurements and connect the lines together. To create this waistline, I simply placed my ruler on that point and connected it to the original waistline we drew and drew a straight line. So that's basically what I did. That will be all for this front pattern. You can go ahead and cut it out. So while doing yours, you can insert your body, that's your sewing allowance. But for mine, I added mine on my fabric. So whichever one you choose to do is up to you. After successfully cutting the front pattern, it's time to move over to the back. So we're going to be using the same method by folding our pattern paper, and then we're going to draw a starting line. Because we're working with the back, we're inserting our zipper allowance, which is 2 inches. So from the shoulder line to the waistline area, I'm going to be marking 2 inches. So I'm marking 2 inches. I'm going to draw a straight line to differentiate that aspect from the remaining part of the pattern. I'm marking my shoulder to waistline so that we're sure of where we're stopping with our measurements. So I'm going ahead to mark 18 inches all the way, and I'm going to draw a straight line as well. Next thing I did was to insert my shoulder line, which is 7.5 inches. I marked my chest line of 9 inches, which was to give us the armhole, and then I went ahead to draw the armhole line as well. The same thing we did for the front bodies, we did for the back. So because I want the back to be quite curved, I came down by 2 inches from the chest line, and then I connected the line to meet the other part of the chest line. We are also inserting that for the back bodies, and we are going to use the same measurement we used for the front, which is 4 inches. So place your 4 inches on the both sides and draw a straight line. For the darts behind, I'll be going in by ½ inch to the left and ½ inch to the right. Altogether we have 1 inch dart. Connect the points to the upper part like so, and you have your back darts ready. Go ahead to insert your body measurements, making sure you are replacing all the darts that we're taking out, and connect the lines together as well. So we know that the back is quite shorter than the front when it comes to half length, and to avoid the zipper bulge, we are going to do a little trick here. So I'm going to be coming up by 1 inch on this point of the zipper line, and I'm going to be connecting that point to the other side of the waistline. That is not all, guys. On that same line, I'm going to be coming in by ½ inch. We know that our back is slant, it is not like a straight blackboard, so this is going to give us that slant effect, and this is going to eliminate any form of bulge you may experience while you are done fixing your zipper. So I draw a straight line connecting it to the upper part of the zip, and yes, we are basically done with the back bodies. I'm just shaping out all the areas that I'll be cutting out. Use your scissors and cut out your pattern. So for this back pattern, you can decide to leave it like this and cut out one piece of your fabric and then insert the dart where you are stitching, or you can decide to slit it open. I'll be slitting mine open because I like to give it that effect that it makes it look like it's joined together and not have that dart effect behind. But whatever pattern you use, whatever style you decide to use, your outfit still comes out perfect. So I'm just going to go ahead and trim out whatever I have here into 2. You guys, it's time to cut out our pattern and our fabric, and I'll be cutting out 2 pieces of each part. Because I'll be making use of the same fabric to line each other. If you're using a lining, you can make use of one piece of each fabric, and then your lining too should be 1 piece, but I'll be doubling mine. I'll be using mine to line it. Also, if you want to create a convertible tube top, you can make use of 2 different fabrics. Use one part to cut the first part, and then use the other type of fabric to cut the other part. While cutting, I'll be adding ½ inch round my stitches for sewing allowance, and by the edges for the parts that I'm going to be joining towards the sides of the body, I'm going to be adding 2 inches of sewing allowance. So just because I ran out of fabric and I had this exact pattern but different colors, I decided to make use of it for the shoulder area, that's for the sleeve. So I'm making use of 3 inches of this fabric, and then for the length, you're going to be making use of the length you have from your shoulder to your chest line. So for the front pattern we have 7 inches, and for the back we have about 11 inches. So altogether we have 17 inches of fabric that we will need for this part. I didn't add extra half inch because I already done that on the body, and I don't want the hand to be falling off my shoulders, so this is going to be just fine. I have 2 pieces of this, one for the left side and one for the right side. To create my sleeve, I'm going to be folding it into 2, and I'm going to be sewing about half an inch on the machine, and then when I'm done I'm going to turn it in like a belt and fix it for my blouse. You want to separate the ones you'll be using for the front part, that's the part that is going to be facing outwards, and the part that is going to be the lining. And for the part that is going to be the main fabric, that's the one facing outwards, we're going to be using interfacing to iron them. So this is just to give it like a firmer look, a stiffer look on the outward appearance. So yes, you're going to go ahead and iron it for those parts of the fabric, and I'll show you what I have. As you can see, this is after I've ironed them. This is the front part. It has this interfacing, and so also does the back. After sewing my half inches on the other parts, and then I sewed in my allowance for this side. I took out my 2 inches allowance, and I've done that. This is what we have. This is how it looks like without the lining pieces. I joined the bustier area. This is where I joined the sides, and that is the dart for the back. So yeah, this is what we have. I did the same thing for the lining piece. The difference is that the lining doesn't have this interfacing on it, but it is the same replica. I noticed there was an excess on the bustier area, so I'm arranging it to place it on it. I'm going to place both the lining and the main fabric on it, and I'm going to give that bustier area a good cleaning up. Yes, so as you can see, we have everything equal. Go ahead and trim all your excesses, so that by the time you are stitching you don't have anyone sticking out by the time you are done ironing. You want to take out your sleeve and arrange them respectively. So the parts that I turned, I faced it inwards and I gave it a good press, so it's now in the middle. I'm going to pin it, and pin it for the back sleeve as well. I don't know if you are going to understand this, but place it in such a way that by the time you are done it's not twisted on your shoulders. So I'm just going ahead to place it like this, and then for the back as well I'm going to do the same thing before I place the lining and sew on it. Once that is done, place your lining fabric on it and then stitch around the edges. I'm going to be stitching all around the edges to get to the other part of the zipper area, and I'm going to leave about 2 inches. So make sure you place your fabric the same way it's meant to be, the midpoints, the highs, the lows. Make sure everything is aligned properly, and then you go ahead to stitch. Once by making sure this is aligned properly, so that by the time you are done you have exactly what you want and you don't have any fabric sticking out where it's not supposed to stick out. This is what we have after stitching. I'm going to go ahead to notch all the curved areas, the pointed areas. By the time I turn it out now, everything will be sticking out where they are meant to be. So you want to place your hand inside the fabric and just go ahead to turn it out like this, like you are turning out a belt. You need to do it gradually so that you don't tear where you are supposed to keep closed. So yeah, this is basically what we have after turning out all sides. I'm going to go ahead and give it a good press. As you can see, this is the bad side, so we'll be making use of the other part for the front. I'm going to give it a good press and then fix my zipper and show you the final results. So this is the final result after fixing our zip and giving it a good press. As you can see, it's already giving the bustier effect even without including the breast pad. So yes, this is highly recommended for those of you who do not want to make use of breast pad for your bustier area. If you enjoyed watching this video, please give it a thumbs up, leave your comments in the comment section, subscribe to the channel, share if you found it helpful. You don't know who might need this. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video.